We've been going to church here for 3-ish more years after COVID. And then my wife's a way better human being than I am. And so we got here and she's like, come on, I'm gonna serve. I'm just gonna get in there and serve. So she's doing like kids ministry, women's ministry. She's getting into worship and everything. She's like, what do you wanna do, babe? I was like, I'll watch the kids and you do that stuff. And I'm gonna be totally transparent with you. I was not like super gung-ho to get into service. I'd come out of a few unfortunate situations and I wasn't super pumped to get back into it. And sometimes a lot of us can feel like that about service, about like, well, that's gonna be vulnerable. And I don't think I got enough time. How many of you guys feel busy? Feel busy all the time. I don't think I could squeeze one more thing into my life. I just don't think I have the time. And I work in ministry already, kind of, so like I'm already serving so many people. I am such a good person, so I don't really need to serve in my church. It was kind of like God was working on my heart. Be like, nah, bro, you gotta get in the game. And eventually, it was an incredibly awkward conversation. We'll have to ask Tommy about it. But I was sitting in main service, and God just he was being gentle with me, and eventually he just smacked me upside the head, and he's like, Steve, go talk to Tommy. You got to serve. Fine. Tommy was like right over here. I was like, hey, Tommy, I'm Steve. What's your number? We should go get lunch. It was like a really uncomfortable, like I was asking him out kind of thing. And so I don't know if it was as uncomfortable for him as it was for me, but that was kind of the journey. And I want to tell you that the last 2 years had been so awesome since I took that step into serving others. And being in youth ministry and serving with students and watching them grow and the friendships that all come out of that and getting to know the leaders, it is just absolutely amazing. The biggest lesson that I ever learned in the last 2-ish years is that if you want to do something great with your life or you want to do something great, you have to come to the acceptance of being small. If you want to do great, got to come to the acceptance of being small and to be a servant to all. So we're gonna get into scripture right here because we have been rocking and rolling in Acts chapter 2, and I'm gonna close this thing down. We have already talked about how God has just kind of wrecked this small group of people and turned it into a bigger and bigger and bigger group, and now this group is just gonna go revolutionize the world, right? But what did that community really look like? That's the question that we want to answer right here. So I'm going to read Acts chapter 2, 42 through 47 if you got your Bibles here. It says, all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in the meals, including the Lord's Supper and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all of the believers met together in one place and shared everything that they had. They sold their property and possessions, and there's that word again, shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day and met in the homes in the Lord's Supper, and they shared their meals with great joy and generosity, and while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship and those who were being saved. One underlining tone that I see in this crazy different community is that they shared everything. And I think what they found out was that they couldn't overshare. That friend would be like, well, you shared too much. I didn't need to know that. But they couldn't overshare with their possessions, with their meals, with their time. And they found that they couldn't give too much because it was always in this current that was going and it was coming back to them and they were giving. And it was this radical, different community. Hold on. Anders, I saw this thing today. It just cracked me open. It was funny. It's funny. I'm going to send it to you. Okay. Just cool.
Oh, I got it.
You get it?
Dude, that's so awesome.
Isn't that so funny? I was belly laughing just on my ground that is so funny.
That's so awesome. I didn't know you do memes like that.
Oh, I do memes hard, bro. Wait. Why don't any of you guys think it's funny, though? I think it's absolutely hilarious. Why don't you guys think it's funny? Oh, I didn't share it with you. You see, if you have a gift to give, or a gift, G-I-F, right? You like that? I can't say gift now with a straight face. If you got a gift to share and you don't share it, that person never gets blessed. My joy from that ridiculous meme of what I sent him was like, oh, this is great, I've got to share it. But if we don't share it, if you've got a talent, if you've got time, if you've got resources, if you've got an idea, if maybe you just have relational capacity, if you don't share that with other people, not only do you miss out, but they start missing out. And now they can't share it with other people as well. And that cycle just keeps going on and on and on. I want to see what Jesus has to say about this, okay? Matthew 23. Let's see what Jesus has to say here, okay? So he's talking about the religious leaders. And you all probably know at this point, the religious leaders were kind of like, I'm better than everyone. Sorry, a real preacher will be here next week. I'm really sorry about this. So this is what Jesus said about the religious leaders. He goes, so practice and obey, verse 3, practice and obey what they tell you, but don't follow their example. For they don't practice what they teach. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. Everything they do is for show. If somebody told you, hey, Steve's all right, he's entertaining, go ahead and listen to him, but man, you don't want your life to look like his life. Oh, that would be crushing to me. He goes on here in verse 8. Don't let anyone call you rabbi, for you have only one teacher, and all of you are equals as brothers and sisters. Don't address anyone here on earth as father, for only God in heaven is your father. And don't let anyone call you teacher, for you have only one teacher, the Messiah. And get this right here. The greatest among you must be a servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. You know what he's saying here? Is that the most important person in this room is not the guy with the microphone. It's not the people on the stage. We are all equals as brothers and sisters. It's not about the show, it's the servant. It's whoever cleaned the toilets so you guys could go to the bathroom when you guys came today. Who opened the doors? Who set up the chairs? Who served you today? Because in God's kingdom, in this upside down, wonky kingdom, those people are at the highest level. And we should all be fighting and scraping to be like, no, I'll move the chairs. No, cool, you need that? I'll take you to the airport. I don't know if you drive or not. Nobody ever wants to do that. I'll scrub that. Hey, mom, dad, I'll help clean with that. In God's kingdom, what he's saying is that it's a fight to get to the bottom here. So I love taking my kids to the zoo. And it's funny because they ask me kind of the most ridiculous questions sometimes. So we're walking by the giraffes, and my son's like, hey, Dad, how big's a giraffe brain? It's like, I don't know, son, but he's like way up there, and if it was too heavy, he would probably like topple over. He's like, well, how big's his heart? It's like, I don't know, son, let's Google it. So we Googled it, okay? Hold on, before I get a giraffe heart out of that bag. You know, a human heart, this is so grossed out. Human heart's like about the size of your fist. So sorry for making like a threatening gesture. It's about that big, human heart, less than a pound, okay? How much you wanna guess is a giraffe heart? It's like, so big. Well, you know it's gotta fit in the bag, so gotta give it away. So I Googled it, so you know it's true. A giraffe heart, check out this rose. Not related at all, but very cool. A giraffe heart is about the size of a 25-pound bowling ball. Now you gotta ask the question, why does a giraffe need such a big heart? Oh, my genius is in the front. He's got to pump blood all the way up that long neck to that tiny little brain of his. That blood's got to go a long way. Now stick with me here, all right? How big is your heart? I'm not talking about if you have a medical condition. I'm saying, how big this is an illustration, is your heart for other people. The problem with the Pharisees is they had big old brains and tiny little hearts. But how big is your heart? And I would say that your heart is probably in direct correlation. The size of your heart is probably in direct correlation to how far you will go to help serve somebody else other than you. That's about how big your heart is. So how big is your heart? Sometimes Christianity, I kind of call it like the cruise line mentality. Like, yeah, I'm a Christian now, I got saved. And we're all like on this cruise boat and we're all just gonna cruise off to heaven. We're gonna get lots of Cokes and relax on the chairs. And this is gonna be great. But I think that's a little bit misled. I think Christianity is more of a competition to serve. It's to be on mission. Maybe Christianity is more like being a secret service agent. I need my secret service out here. Dang, and they look good, don't they? I got some good-looking secret service agents. So maybe Christianity is more about being an agent on mission. These guys right here, as good-looking as they are, their mission is to be close to me. Why? Because if they were dinking around in the lobby and I needed them, they wouldn't be anywhere to be found. Their mission is to be close to me, like your mission is to be close to Jesus, to be able to hear him. So if Jesus says, go right, you go right. Jesus said, go left, you go left. If Jesus said, yo, brother, cha-cha slide, then that's what you do. Because you've got to be close to Jesus to actually know what you want, what he wants you to do. You're on mission, and everyone serves somebody, okay? Everybody serves somebody. If you think you serve nobody, you're foolhardy. You serve somebody, whether it's your own desires or you serve God. So you might as well just serve God. So when God has you on mission, and he's like, Josh, I need you over there. There's some politics over there. I need godly men who are in politics over there. You are on mission. Go over there. Will, I need you over here. I need you in the foster care system. There's some crazy stuff happening with our families. I need you on point over there because the mission really isn't about them. It's really about the task that God's given them. This is embarrassing. Hey, we're kind of in the middle of something. We good? We good? Because we kind of in the middle of something here. We on mission right here.
We're on mission.
When we get distracted from the mission that God is giving us, what happens is he misses out on the gift that God's given him, and also everyone that he was supposed to minister to, they miss out as well. Because it's not just about the task. My opinion is under the mission. That's why we call it submission. My opinion is sub to the mission. So what you think, sure, it's kind of important, but it's not. What does God think? What does God want me to do? You want me to go clean those toilets? Let's do it. You want me to move those chairs? Let's do it. Kids ministry? I'm on it. We're gonna have backpacks for you guys to pack later tonight for homeless families. Very cool, right? While you guys are clapping, give it up for my Secret Service agents. Thank you guys. Come on. This is incredible here. God's point is not to save us and take us on some cruise boat to heaven to take us out of the world. He put you in this world so that you could be a servant. Get this, even when God himself came down to this planet, he said, I didn't come to be served, I came to serve. That's why I'm here. So if the God of this planet is coming here to serve, what should we be doing? Dang, you guys are sharp. You guys are good. I am so glad that my friend Billy decided to serve. When I was sitting in your seat years ago, went to a church camp, had a small group. This dude that I didn't know was our small group leader. We spent all week doing small group stuff, and he's like, hey, if this went all right, you guys want to keep doing this? We're like, okay, we'll keep doing this. He ended up being like my mentor. He was the one that I called, Billy, when I went through my breakups or when I went through something hard in my life. He was the one where I would walk to his house after school, after detention. I'd go over to Billy's house, just hang out with him. He was the one who took me Frisbee golfing and where I could just bare my soul and talk about whatever was going on in my life. He was the one that I was with when the cops showed up and pointed a gun at us because they thought we were dumping drugs in the woods. We weren't dumping drugs, we were dumping cats. That's a different story. Let's not lose track here. So my question for you guys, who are you guys a Billy to? Okay, not a bully. Who are you a Billy to? Who are you serving in your circles right now? In small groups, you'll be able to think through it, but we wanna help you. As a church, we wanna help kind of like bring this to life in you because we understand that when you serve, that is your spiritual boot camp. That is God actually bringing to fruition what he's planted in you. And he can only do that through service. So if we skip out on the service part, I'm really sorry, but you're gonna have a really mediocre Christian life because your life was never meant to be about you. Even God said, I came to serve, not to be served. So I'm gonna wrap up with this. Who are you a Billy to? Where does God want you to serve? What is your gift that you have to share that you haven't been sharing? Not in a guilt trip way, but in a way that says somebody else is missing out because you're not involved in that way.